The General Assembly will come to order. The Sergeant-at-Arms of the House is recognized.
Mr. President, I have the honor to announce the presence of His Excellency, the Governor of the State of North Carolina, the Honorable Roy Cooper.
The Sergeant-at-Arms of the House and the Senate will escort the committee and His Excellency to the well of the House. Representative Floyd is recognized. Members of the General Assembly, distinguished guests, His Excellency, the Governor of the State of North Carolina, the Honorable Roy Cooper.
Mr. President, please be seated first. You might be able to stand up for the whole thing, but maybe not. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President Pro Tem, members of the General Assembly, the Council of State, members of the Judiciary, members of my Cabinet, and my fellow North Carolinians. I'm honored to join you tonight to report the state of our great state. I'm joined by my wife, Kristen, my partner in life and in public service, who for the past 2 years has traveled to every corner of North Carolina. I thank Kristen and our wonderful daughters, Hillary and Natalie, who are here tonight, and Claire, who is away at school, for their unwavering love and support. Stand up, guys. Thank you so much. In recent months, North Carolinians have been put to the test, and we've learned we're made of strong stuff. In September, our state was slammed by Hurricane Florence. Homes, businesses, schools, and crops were washed away. Dozens of lives were lost. Then Tropical Storm Michael blew through, bringing more damage. But adversity only defines us if we refuse to rise and conquer it. Days after Florence made landfall, I met an elderly woman in a Wilmington shelter who was rescued from floodwaters by first responders. All she had left were the few belongings that she had carried in her arms. But she didn't dwell on her loss. When I told her how sorry I was, she said to me, "I thank God I'm alive. I thank God for that firefighter who rescued me, and I thank God for all of these volunteers helping in this shelter. A lot of them had their own homes flooded. I'm going to make it." It's that courage in the face of fear, that conviction in the face of uncertainty, that determined spirit in the face of challenges that make us, North Carolina, the greatest state in the nation. And that's why tonight I'm proud to report that the state of our state is determined. Hurricane Florence showed us that we North Carolinians love our communities, that we help each other, that we're resilient in tough times, and that we are determined to work together to rebuild stronger and smarter. But the storm showed us that it's also time to come together to meet other challenges that people face every day across our state. And we have to bring that same determination to every challenge. To start, we must come together and insist that our public schools come first. We must come together to create opportunities in our cities and in our rural communities. And we must come together to get health care for hundreds of thousands of working people with no insurance. That's the determination we need to make North Carolina truly excellent. First, we must be determined to help our state recover stronger and smarter than ever. It's hard to find a part of our state that's been spared the blows of nature over the past 2 years, whether floods, rain, wind, tornadoes, or mudslides. In my travels, I've witnessed people's pain and loss. I've been inspired by their determination. Survivors who are working to rebuild their lives and their communities, volunteers who serve thousands of hot meals and repaired homes, first responders who pulled more than 5,200 North Carolinians and over 1,000 animals from floodwaters. I've been honored to meet many of these storm heroes, including State Highway Patrol Trooper Nicholas Stone Road. Just after the storm, he spent hours clearing roads and keeping his community safe. Even though his own home was crushed by fallen trees, he kept right on working. When he made it back home again, chest-deep floodwaters had destroyed almost everything he owned. But he still kept reporting for duty, protecting others, helping people in need, delivering food to provide meals for survivors. And you know what he said when he was asked why he kept on? He said this: "I had a job to do." Trooper Stone Road, your state is deeply grateful to you and to all the people who answered the call to service above self. Please stand so we can thank you and all of our hurricane heroes. Like Trooper Stone Road, we have a job to do. We're determined to help North Carolinians recover, and we're making progress. Local, state, and federal leaders are working together, and tens of thousands of North Carolinians are already getting assistance. At our urging, the state and federal government have put in over $1 billion to help North Carolinians get back on their feet, and we're working for a lot more. This legislature really stepped up in a big way after Hurricane Florence. We worked together in a bipartisan way to help families, schools, small businessmen, fishermen, and farmers. But with many small business owners and families just one disaster away from bankruptcy, it's not enough to simply respond to disaster when it strikes. We must also limit damage from the next storm by rebuilding stronger and more resilient. Weeks after Hurricane Florence, I formed the new Office of Recovery and Resilience to carry out recovery and develop strategies to protect our state from future storms. We have seen violent weather threaten every corner of our state, and scientists agree climate change is making storms more fierce. It is real. And we are the generation that must act. In October, I signed an executive order to reduce our state's greenhouse gas emissions 40% by the year 2025. This won't just help us in the fight against climate change. It'll boost our economy by creating more clean energy jobs. We must also be determined to get people better educated for the jobs of today and tomorrow. When the founders of the University of North Carolina chartered America's first public university to open its doors in 1789, they knew even then that education creates opportunity. Public education lifts up families, communities, and our economy. But too often, public schools have taken a back seat to tax breaks for those at the very top. Simply put, public education is our most important job as a state, and we must do better. Now, when I visit schools across North Carolina, I see determined teachers, I see eager students, and I see hope for our future. But too often I see teachers working second jobs to make ends meet. Kids who missed out on early childhood education in pre-K. Trailers and crowded classrooms. If we want our educators to teach well, we need to treat them well. Last year, 20,000 teachers from across the state came here to Raleigh and asked us to help our schools. One of them was Nashonda Cook, who's here with us tonight. The daughter and granddaughter of teachers, Nashonda decided to become one too during a visit to her mother's classroom. Nashonda said this, "I knew immediately. I saw my mom change lives. I saw her help children reach their highest potential." Nashonda has taught in North Carolina schools for 20 years. Over the years, she's seen fewer teacher assistants, fewer classroom supplies, and she's had trouble making ends meet on a teacher's salary. But when her youngest child said that she'd like to become a teacher too, Nashonda didn't hesitate to encourage her. We want Nashonda's daughter and thousands like her to follow through and become teachers. Let's show Nashonda and other educators that we value and respect them. Nashonda, please stand up so that we can recognize your hard work and the amazing service of teachers all across our state. But North Carolina is still ranked 37th in teacher pay nationwide. That's not the respect they deserve. When I send you my budget, we'll put our schools and our teachers first. Now, I know we disagree on some issues, but I believe that there is bipartisan agreement that education will succeed with a good teacher in every classroom and a good principal in every school. So our message to educators should be clear. We trust you to educate our children. We're putting our money where our trust is. And we must encourage more of our very best high schoolers to choose teaching as a career. If they'll teach here for at least 4 years, North Carolina will pay for their college. Teaching Fellows scholarships are a great deal for our state, and they lift the level of respect for the profession. Let's expand the Teaching Fellows program. And let's give kids a better start by investing more in early childhood education. We work together to expand pre-K to thousands more students. But we shouldn't stop until every child has it. And let's give our students safe, healthy places to learn. Right now, 4 in 10 public schools in our state are at least 50 years old. That means they are still using the schools that you and I went to. Now, that's great for nostalgia, but not so good for students in classrooms with unreliable heat, leaking roofs, or crumbling walls. K through 12 schools need at least $8 billion in new construction and renovation. There is a smart way to build them that locks in financing against the whims of future legislatures and lets the people decide at the same time. It gets hammers swinging all across our state and still leaves money for good teachers and principals that I just talked about. This session, let's have the people vote on a strong school construction bond. And we have to be determined to build an economy that works for everyone. In many ways, our state is a picture of success. Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill are hubs for innovation. The Triad is a growing center for aviation and advanced manufacturing. Charlotte is a global banking capital. And our rural areas offer unique opportunities. Just last week, Charlotte hosted the NBA All-Star Game, showing people from around the world what we already know. North Carolina is America's best place to live and do business. And play basketball. Now, when I took office, House Bill 2 was hurting North Carolinians and holding our economy back. 2 years ago, I stood right here before you and said we must repeal it. And with bipartisan support, HB 2 is gone. But there's more to do to fight discrimination. We must show the rest of the nation and the world who we really are. A state that values diversity, that is welcoming, and that is open for business. I've signed 2 executive orders that reaffirm those values by banning workplace discrimination. Our economy is strongest when every North Carolinian can contribute. As we continue to grow and thrive, we're determined not to leave anyone behind. In the past 2 years, we've announced more than 40,000 new jobs and billions of dollars of investment in both urban and rural parts of North Carolina. We have worked together, you legislators and our office, to expand our economic development toolkit, which now includes strong incentives. It's been great to welcome major companies, including Honeywell, Advanced Auto Parts, Credit Suisse, Eggerwood Products, and Triangle Tire. Our unemployment rate is below the national average, and our economy is strong. But despite this success, middle-class families are still struggling for better wages. There is an answer for them. Today, there are thousands of jobs available, from advanced manufacturing to construction to technology and healthcare, jobs that offer better pay. Yet employers tell me they struggle to find the skilled workers that they need, And many workers tell me they struggle to find the better paying jobs. We're determined to get them together. That's why we started NC Job Ready, a program that trains workers in the skills that employers need. We've already seen success. Our Finish Line grants help community college students living on the economic edge. The grants help people stay in school when they face unexpected costs like car repairs, medical emergencies, and child care. Take Takita Douglas, a community college student and a mother of 3. I first met Takita during a visit to Alamance Community College last month. She wanted a better career, so she enrolled to become a dental assistant. But balancing the additional cost of child care was too much, so Takita nearly dropped out. A Finish Line grant helped her stay in school, and she expects to graduate this summer. Takita is determined not to let anything discourage her, and she's here with us tonight. Let's give her a round of applause for working hard to make a better life for herself and her family. Just last week, leaders from all over North Carolina, including this legislature, endorsed the goal for 2 million more North Carolinians to have a post-secondary degree or credential by the year 2030. But people need education in order for us to get there. People in North Carolina now have $41 billion in student debt, and many middle-class families often can't afford the education that they need. Last year, I pushed for an effort to provide tuition-free community college for high-demand jobs. This can help us meet our goal. Other states are already doing this, so let's get it done. Now, our economy also depends on infrastructure. And when I came into office, the Highway Trust Fund wasn't being used efficiently. You in this chamber challenged our Department of Transportation to build roads and bridges faster. We delivered on that challenge. And then we worked together to pass Build NC. This helps keep our state connected and our economy moving. Connecting our state, our entire state, is especially critical for our rural communities. We have the second largest rural population of any state in the country. Now, growing up in Nash County, I spent my summers in the tobacco field, my Friday nights on the football field, and my Sunday mornings in Sunday school and church. My parents and my rural North Carolina community taught me the value of hard work. They taught me the value of $1. They taught me the importance of faith, family, and community. For people like Lorinda and Harold Overman, rural North Carolina will always be home. To them, tending crops and livestock on their farm is more than an occupation. It's a deeply rewarding way of life. But right now, many rural business owners and farmers are struggling. Lack of broadband access, trade tariffs, and natural disasters have hit them hard. Last year, the Overmans saw their soybean crop wiped out by Hurricane Florence, threatening their ability to keep their 18 full-time employees. Thanks to the bipartisan hurricane relief bill we passed, the Overmans and many other farmers like them are getting help. The Overmans are determined to make their business thrive and pass it on to their kids, the next generation of farmers. Lorinda and Harold, please stand so we can let you and other farmers across our state know that we are with you. We all know about our rural challenges, so that's why last year I launched Hometown Strong. It's already making a difference, strengthening relationships between state government and over a dozen rural counties. For instance, some small communities didn't know how to get funds to fix up struggling downtowns. Hometown Strong is helping connect them with the right resources to get started. There's also a monster of an issue facing rural communities: internet access. Too many North Carolinians lack the internet connection they need to apply for a job, to do homework, or to run a small business. Among households without broadband, about 95% of them are in rural areas, a digital divide with very real consequences. This legislature can make a real dent in this problem this session. I'm asking you to join with me in an expansive effort to complete rural broadband projects. We can leverage public-private partnerships to bridge the digital divide and connect all parts of our state to opportunity. Finally, we must be determined to help the people of our state become healthier. And we've made important strides. We've protected our clean air and water by punishing polluters and stopping emerging contaminants from being discharged into the Cape Fear River. Every North Carolina family deserves to know their drinking water is safe. In October, our administration got people near coal ash ponds off bottled water, and now they have permanent, safe water. Our Department of Environmental Quality will continue to push for safe storage of coal ash across the state. We also must protect the health of our coastal communities from the threats of offshore drilling. The federal government must hear us loud and clear, not off our coast. And we know too many North Carolinians don't have health insurance. Tonight, I want to talk with you about a bipartisan way that we can get 500,000 working North Carolinians some help. There are neighbors in your hometowns who are working 2 jobs that don't provide any health insurance. Doctors and nurses across our state see it every day. Are we willing to help them? It's time. Police chiefs and sheriffs say they're overwhelmed by the wreckage of opioid overdose and people who need treatment, not jails. Are we willing to help them? It's time. Business owners say they're tired of paying higher premiums to cover the cost of treating the uninsured in emergency rooms. Are we willing to help them? It is time. Rural hospitals are bordering on bankruptcy and even closing because many of their patients don't have health insurance. Are we willing to help them? Well, it's time. Our communities could use an extra 30,000 to 40,000 good-paying jobs. Are we willing to help them? It's time. Many North Carolinians are tired of their tax dollars going to Washington to cover people in other states, but not our state. Are we willing to help them? It's time. There is someone in our audience right now who's willing to help them. Dr. Gregory Adams, a pediatrician who practices in Watauga County. He sees the problem of lack of health insurance in his own community. He worries that many people won't get treated for their chronic conditions unless we do something about it. He says it makes no sense to say no to something our federal tax dollars already pay for in other states. Dr. Adams believes that as soon as we can, right now, we should expand Medicaid. So let's follow the doctor's orders. Dr. Adams is determined to keep people healthy. Dr. Adams, please stand so we can acknowledge you and all of the doctors, nurses, and hospitals that want to do this. Thank you, Dr. Adams. Guys, I know we can do this. And I know that some of you have some concerns. But let's listen to each other. And let's get this done in a North Carolina way. We can do this. We can do this. When I became your governor, I envisioned a North Carolina where people are healthier, better educated, with more money in their pockets, and where people have the opportunity to live lives of purpose and abundance. I envisioned a North Carolina where every child in every school would get an excellent education that allowed them to pursue their purpose. I envisioned a North Carolina where every family could live fulfilling lives without the cost of health care stealing their dreams. I envisioned a North Carolina where every worker had a big enough paycheck to provide for themselves and their families. Those of you sitting in this House chamber tonight know that what we've outlined is easier said than done. But it's time to start doing. The people of North Carolina are determined for us to work together. They have spoken. They want a more balanced approach to government. They want us to invest in our public schools. They want the education and training they need to get a good-paying job. They want safe drinking water. They want the neighbors to have access to health care. They simply want the opportunity to make the most of their lives. They want us to do our jobs. It's our job to build a better North Carolina that makes that possible, whether a person lives in Cherokee or Chocowinity. There are several of you all who represent Chocowinity, so we need more than one clap. I love this state. I believe you do too, every single one of you. I believe we have broad agreement on what we want for our state. We sometimes differ on how to achieve it. But let's debate in good faith, not with political stunts. In the open, not behind closed doors. With respect for those who disagree, not disdain. We need to seek common ground and build solutions upon it. Just like the people I've met along the way, I'm determined. I'm determined to make our state better. I believe you are too. Starting tonight, let's figure out how to best serve those who sent us here. There is nothing a determined North Carolina cannot do. God bless you, our country, and the great state of North Carolina. Thank you very much.
North Carolina Channel is made possible by the financial contributions of viewers like you who support the UNC TV network.